forces. One was external force and one was internal force. Then we discussed about some of the external forces, that is, and we discussed that external forces are those forces which are uncontrollable. We cannot control them. And internal forces, these are controllable. We can control them. So in external forces, then we discussed about competitive forces, that competition is one thing, that is a big external force and it is uncontrollable. You cannot control your competitors. Then in competition we discussed that there is kind of competition, number of competition and location. Then distributive forces, we discussed about that for distributing goods and services. Channel of the distribution, complete channel of distribution. It is uncontrollable, it is very difficult to control it. And we discussed about economic forces, that it is also an external force. It is uncontrollable. GNP, unit labor cost, personal consumption expenditure, we discussed about this. Socio-economic, we discussed about the characteristic of human population, that we cannot control the characteristics of human population. We cannot control the age, we cannot control the gender, we cannot control the education, the family life cycle and these things. Then we discussed about financial forces, interest rates. It is not in the control of a company, it is in the control of government. Inflation rates, same, and taxation, interest rates and inflation, it is not in the control of a single company. Government is controlling it. Legal, so laws governing how how international firms must operate. So we discussed that a single firm cannot make laws for themselves. Governments are making laws and they are working in this environment. So legal forces are another forces that is not in the control of a company. Today we are going to start the seventh external force that is affecting businesses or international businesses, which is also uncontrollable. The physical or environmental forces. Physical forces are environmental forces. Meaning the first thing is climate. So climate is a thing which is uncontrollable. A company can't control the climate. The second thing is natural resources. Natural resource is another thing. Suppose a company is working in Afghanistan and the prices of petroleum, these are very high. And now the company wants that there will be petrol, much more petrol in Afghanistan, so the prices of petrol will come down. So is it possible that a company will bring natural resources to Afghanistan? No, natural resources are natural. So it is not in the control of a company. So natural resource, it is another thing which is an external force, which is not in the control of a company. Climate, God's will. Natural resources from God's side, so it is not in the control of a company. Then the next thing is political forces. Political environment, forms of government, different forms of government, dictatorship, democratic government, these things. So these are not in the control of a single company. Why this is affecting businesses? Because different forms of government, they have different policies regarding businesses. So these forms of government, these are affecting businesses and international organizations. Different international organizations, and these international organizations are also affecting businesses. IMF, World Bank, UNO, all these are affecting international businesses, but these are not in the control of a single company. So political environment, that is different forms of government and different international organizations, they are also coming in external environment, and they are coming in political forces, and these are not in the control of a single company. Socio-cultural, related to society, different people have different attitudes, different beliefs, and different opinions. So a company cannot control the attitudes, the beliefs, and opinions of the people. So socio-cultural forces, these are also external forces, and these are also not in the control of a company. Socio-cultural attitudes are coming, beliefs are coming, and opinions are coming. So the attitudes, beliefs, and opinions of people, these are not in the control of a company. The next is labor. Labor force, that is also coming in external forces. The skills of labor, the attitudes of labor, these are also external forces. A company can't control the skills of labor. Suppose there is a steel mill, and that steel mill, they need 100 employees in Afghanistan, suppose. So now, there is no one in Afghanistan who have experience in the steel work, in the steel mill. So they can't get their desired labor force. So now, the main thing is, a company wants 100 employees, but these 100 employees are not available. What is their main goal? That 100 employees, we need 100 employees, and we want that these 100 employees will be in Afghanistan, but these are not available. So can they control this thing? Can they control the skills of people? So skills of employees, skills of labor, that is another thing that is not in the control of a company. Take another example. In Afghanistan in 2008, when there were new universities, so at that time, the computer science teachers, there was unavailability of computer science teachers in Afghanistan. So they were hiring them from Pakistan, from India, and from other countries. Why? Because these skills were not available locally. So they were hiring foreigners, and they were paying high salaries to these foreigners. Then attitudes of labor, the thinking of labor, the attitude of labor, that is another thing that is not in the control of the company. Now, labor attitudes. So can a company control their attitudes? No, it is impossible. The next thing, it is technological forces. That is another thing that is not in the control of the company. converted to products. In technology, the equipments are coming and the skills that affect how resources are converted to products. So, that is another force, that is the technological force. That is the equipment which are required to convert the resources to products. So, technology in I think 2000, I forgot that time, when SSLR launched 3G. Then 3G is a new technology, was a new technology at that time. Now, what the other companies did, were the competitors of SSLR, they sent their employees to Dubai for training and train them, bring them back and launch 3G. Otherwise, out of the competition. So this technology, this is also affecting the companies, and if you are not changing the new equipments, the technological new equipments, then you will be out of competition. So technology is another external force that is affecting international business. So these are the external forces that are affecting international business. Competition, distributor forces, channel of distribution, economic forces. Then we discussed about socio-economic, society, human population. Then we discussed about financial forces. Then we discussed about legal forces. Then we discussed about physical environment, that is also coming in an external force, like climate and natural resources. Then we discussed about political environment, that is also external. Company can't control the governments. Forms of government means I told you about dictatorship and democratic governments. So these are different forms of government. These forms of government, they have different policies basically, and these policies are affecting the businesses and international organizations. These international organizations, these are also affecting the business internationally. World Trade Organization, WTO, that is for, we will discuss, we will study it in the later chapters. Then they will discuss about these international organizations and how these are affecting international businesses. Socio-cultural forces, these are also external forces, that is the attitudes of people, the beliefs of people, the opinions of people. These are also affecting the business. Then labor, skills of labor and the attitudes of labor. Skills of labor, these are also affecting the businesses. Why? If labor are skillful, they will produce quality products, and if the skills of labor it is not up to the mark, so the quality will be low. So companies want that we got skillful employees, but skills are not in the control of the company. So these are also coming in the external forces. And the attitudes of labor, that is another thing that is not in the control of the company. Then technology. Technology is changing day by day. Technology is changing. So technological forces, these are also external, and these are not in the control of company. Company can do what? Company can just adopt that change. Anything which is changing, what will they do? They will just change themselves accordingly. So these are the external forces that are not in the control of company. Then the second forces, these are internal forces. Internal forces, these are basically those forces which are controlling. See, the main forces are factors of production: land, labor, capital, organization. Factors of production, you know about factors of production: land, labor, capital, and organization. Entrepreneurs, some people say. And business activities which are divided into the following. These are basically, these internal forces are basically these five. The first one is capital. Capital, internal force. So, it is in the control of a company. Availability of capital, it is internal force, depends on the company, depends on the business. They can generate capital from different sources. So it is in the control of company. Raw material. Raw material, Mawade Khan, is another external force an internal force that is in the control of the company. Why? The availability of raw material. It depends on the company, the financial health of the company. They need more, you can buy more. So it depends, and by good relationship with the suppliers, if there is shortage, so they will keep good relationships with the suppliers. So suppliers will provide these the material in hard time to the company. Decision makers. You know what decision? Management. The top management. So that's the performance world. So we will look, company will look at the performance and they will take their decision. Then employees is another internal force that is in the control of the company. Can easily control that. Then business processes and functions. The departments, production departments, different departments, business processes and functions. So that is another thing that is in the control of company. Company can easily control these processes and functions inside the company. So these are the internal forces which are in the control of a company. Inshallah, we will discuss international versus domestic